This is the Reference Collection Podcast. I'm your host, Miss Alexander. Today we're going to be discussing the reference collection analysis and the print reference collection assignment. Let's jump right in and get started, shall we? Our first topic today is the reference collection analysis. The reference collection at my school serves around 575 students and around 35 teachers. Students range in age from 5 to 12, or kindergarten to 5th grade. The student body is very diverse. It includes many cultural and linguistic backgrounds, such as Hispanic and Latino, Alaskan, Asian, African American, Caucasian, and several students who are of mixed races. The library currently staffs a full-time library media specialist and a part-time clerk. My suggestion for improvement would be to allow volunteers to help out these two professionals by allowing volunteers to shelf books or do other simple tasks. The reference collection contains 404 titles. The biggest Dewey classes are language and history and geography. The average age of the collection is 19.2 years. The district provides the school with many databases. So many databases, in fact, that the library media specialist is really not sure of the exact number. My suggestions for improvement for the reference collection would be to evaluate and weed the Dewey sections that are larger. By doing this, the library media specialist would make room for newer books to be added. The Dewey classes that desperately need new books are the 100s, 200s, 700s, and 800s. The media specialist mentioned that the Atlas and Encyclopedia sections were especially dated. She wanted to add some new books in these areas. The reference collection does not circulate with students. Sometimes if a student is in a special situation, they are able to check out the reference books if they're really needed. Teachers and staff are allowed to check out the reference books as needed. There is no timeline on when they have to be returned. The school currently has no information inquiry model in place. The LMS does not teach information inquiry skills in the library. Information inquiry is left up to classroom teachers and the computer teacher. My biggest suggestion for improvement would be for the school to start implementing the Super 3 information inquiry model. They could start out by using the language and the terminology related to the Super 3 and eventually move into incorporating it throughout the whole school. The librarian could serve as the starting point for such a program. Another aspect of implementing the Super 3 would be the need for a more flexible schedule in the library. Right now, students are only able to visit the library once a week with their class while their teacher has a planning time. There is no time for the librarian to allow classes to come in for research or further information inquiry instruction. The virtual reference collection is also non-existent at my school. The library has a page on the main school website, but there is no reference section. My biggest suggestion for improvement would be for the library to create its own web page that could be linked to the main school website. The library website could provide specific reference collection information, pathfinders, databases, etc. This would allow students to have access to library resources outside of school. The library does have several tables for group work, wireless internet, a class set of iPads, and 4 desktop computers. With the fixed schedule that the library currently has, the teachers are not able to bring students in for additional research or time in the library. In order for the librarian to be truly embedded in the school needs to change the schedule. The librarian should have time to work with students and teachers to collaborate and further the learning process. As you can see, the library has many areas of strength and areas that need to be improved upon in order to be a true 21st century media center. Now that you've gotten an overview of my reference collection analysis, let's move on to the print collection assignment. First, we have the bibliographies. I chose Emotion and Religion, a Critical Assessment in an Annotated Bibliography. I chose this book because the reference collection desperately needs books in the religion section. This bibliography is targeted to older students, but the information could still be important for elementary students to use if doing a project related to religion. The other bibliographic reference that I chose to add is Colonial America and Literature for Youth, a guide and resource book. This bibliography contains entries for fiction and nonfiction books geared towards K-12 readers about colonial America. Teachers and students can use this reference when doing projects related to colonial America. I chose this book because it was related to literature. Next are the almanacs. I chose to add the World Almanac for Kids 2014 and National Geographic Kids Almanac. I chose these two because they are both targeted towards kids and they provide information that will be very useful for many different projects in the library. Another category of books that I added were handbooks. I chose to add 3. Top Secret, a handbook of codes, ciphers, and secret writing, the Egyptology Handbook, a course in the wonders of Egypt, and the Oceanology Handbook, a course for underwater explorers. I chose these 3 handbooks because they contain information about specific topics, but within each topic there's a lot of information presented within the book. Egyptology, oceanology, and coding are 3 areas the library doesn't have a lot of resources on. Next up are biographical references. I chose to add First Ladies, a biographical dictionary, and Presidents, a biographical dictionary. I chose these 2 biographical references because they include all of the presidents and first ladies up to this point. The other resources in the library are outdated and don't include Barack Obama or Michelle Obama. Another category that I added to the collection were dictionaries. I chose Merriam-Webster's Elementary Dictionary just to add a new, updated dictionary to the library collection. Students are going to start learning dictionary skills in the coming weeks, and hopefully this resource will be helpful. I also chose the My First Spanish-English Visual Dictionary. I chose this book because the school serves a large number of second language learners. Many of these students speak Spanish as a primary language. This book contains English and Spanish words and a picture to go along, so students can identify the image of the item that they know and then look for the English or Spanish words depending on what they need. The next category are encyclopedias. I chose to add the Children's World Encyclopedia of Baseball because the library lacks references related to sports. The LMS indicated that a lot of boys were really into baseball, so a baseball encyclopedia would be very used. The other encyclopedia that I added was the Kingfisher Nature Encyclopedia. I chose this because it contains science information. Science is an area that progresses rapidly, so updating these encyclopedias is very important. The final category I added to the collection are geographical references. I chose to add 2 atlases. They are the World Almanac Children's Atlas and Children's World Atlas. I chose these 2 because the LMS mentioned that the atlases were extremely outdated in her collection. These 2 have updated facts and figures as well as maps that show the most up-to-date information. Overall, I added 15 books to the reference collection. I chose the resources that I did because they were all professionally reviewed and they were by trusted and respected publishers. The authors were also well known, so I knew the information would be as accurate and unbiased as possible. And that brings us to the end of this episode of the Reference Collection Podcast. Please remember to check out my Goodreads.com bookshelf for the print reference collection assignment. This is your host, Stacey Alexander, signing off.